Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us today for our Railbookers webinar. Today, focusing on Alaska and the opportunity to explore Alaska by rail with Alaska Railroad on the numerous Railbookers packages that we have taking you into Denali National Park and the other inland highlights of Alaska. My name is Chris David. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Railbookers up here in Canada. I'm located in Toronto, and I'm going to be the guest host for today's presentation, telling you all about Alaska and the rail journeys traveling through America's largest state. To kick things off, let's take a quick look at what we're going to be covering in our presentation today, which, by the way, should run about 20 or 25 minutes in duration. First off, we're going to start the webinar with a few introductory points about traveling by rail, Alaska Railroad, and what we at Railbookers can do to put together an independent vacation program for you traveling by train. The main focus for today's webinar, however, will be on the destination itself, looking at Alaska and all the parts of Alaska that you can visit traveling by rail. A big part of what we're all about at Railbookers is customizing, giving you the opportunity to add any additional elements into any of our packages. And I'll be giving you a sense of how we can do that as well. And touching briefly on the health and safety requirements that are still in place as a result of COVID, and how Alaska Railroad has responded to ensure that you can travel by rail through Alaska with total peace of mind. I'd like to start things off today by giving you a quick introduction to our company. We're called the YANKEE Leisure Group, and we are a tour operator that specializes in rail travel. We have partnerships with train companies all around the world. We have two brands out there in the marketplace, Amtrak Vacations and Railbookers. In the US, we're the official tour operator for Amtrak, so we work closely in partnership with Amtrak to provide a large portfolio selection of vacation packages traveling with Amtrak through the lower 48 US states. Railbookers is our international brand, and that's where you'll find vacation packages and itineraries going throughout Europe, into Canada, across Canada, into the Canadian Rockies, in Alaska, as well as specialty trains and luxury rail experiences around the world, like the world-famous Venice Simplon Orient Express, the Australian luxury trains, the GAN and the Indian Pacific, South Africa's Blue Train, Russia's Golden Eagle Trans-Siberian, and many others. In fact, we have an entire brochure dedicated to luxury rail travel. One of the really unique features we have at Railbookers is the ability to book and confirm independent travel going by train 2 years in advance. If you are traveling through Europe and making rail arrangements in Europe, you can only actually confirm that usually 60 or 90 days prior to departure. So with Railbookers, that ability to do it all and put it to bed a full 2 years out, possibly working directly with us or through your travel agent, is really a game changer in terms of convenience and saving you the cost of having to confirm everything last minute, being able to plan and lock in today's rate for that journey 2 years into the future. We do this by working in partnership with all of the rail companies directly, Deutsche Bahn and Trenitalia, all of these European train companies, as well as Via Rail in Canada and Amtrak, Eurostar, and all the others. And those direct partnerships give us access to their rates and their inventory well in advance, and that ability to book a full 2 years out. Thousands of people throughout the US and Canada and the UK and Australia have found that working with Railbookers is such an easy way to plan their independent travel by train. And these are some of the ways that we're going to make your life easier if you have a rail journey in mind. First off, we have the expertise to be able to advise and counsel you on everything train related, the timetables, the schedules, the routes for rail networks around the world. Secondly, that ability to book and confirm and put everything to bed 2 years in advance. The flexibility of being able to add a rail journey, a segment, anywhere the trains go, into your package. A huge selection of rail product, those luxury trains, the specialty trains, all the Amtrak routes, as well as the high-speed rail networks all across Europe. So really, when it comes to rail travel, what's complicated and difficult for other operators is simple for us at Railbookers, because this is what we do. It's our unique area of specialty. Our product at Railbookers is not just that rail ticket. Although the name suggests that we book rail, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We also do all the other components of independent travel, the hotels, the sightseeing, local transportation, transfers. So with one phone call, you can take care of the entire package that you're putting together, including the rail and all the other bits and pieces. What's more, the Railbookers package is completely customizable. It's not a group tour. It's not a set departure date. So when you look at one of our itineraries, bear in mind you can change any component of it and add extra destinations into the itineraries, extra nights in any of the destinations. You can upgrade your rail accommodation from economy to business or first class and add in any sightseeing experiences or highlights that you may be interested in. And when it comes to the hotels with Railbookers, you have the ability to choose between 3, 4, and 5-star options on every night of the trip. So you can add that little bit of extra luxury, especially if you're traveling to celebrate a special occasion. Perhaps on 1 or 2 nights, you can upgrade to that 5-star iconic resort property that you've always dreamed about staying at. And when it comes to concerns about having to cancel or reschedule, our approach at Railbookers is to give you the maximum possible flexibility. So if you do need to reschedule, you can do so up to 60 days prior to departure. We provide a future travel credit that is completely flexible. In that, you can transfer that credit to another person. You can split it over multiple new bookings, or you can put that credit for any funds you had on file with us towards any other trip in any destination worldwide. When it comes to COVID safety, as I mentioned earlier, the Alaska Railroad and the other train operators have really taken this seriously, and they're taking all the necessary steps to make sure you can travel with peace of mind. Masks are required for passengers and staff on board. The trains are being sanitized on an ongoing basis, all the frequently touched surfaces, and there is no paper changing hands on board the train. Everything has gone touchless for ticket control and payment for food and other items on board. That said, let's dive in and take a look at the great itineraries we have for exploring Alaska by rail, starting with the Grand Alaska Adventure southbound. This is an open jaw itinerary starting in Fairbanks and ending in Anchorage, really giving you that ability to take in all of these highlight destinations inland within Alaska. So you're going to fly into Fairbanks with this package. You'll have 2 nights in Fairbanks. Fairbanks, by the way, during the summer months has about 40 days of 24-hour daylight. So really a very unique thing to experience when you're that far north, being able to play a round of golf at midnight in Fairbanks. You'll then travel south on Alaska Railroad. 2 days in Denali National Park, which is just a highlight for anybody visiting Alaska. 1 night in Talkeetna. You'll have 3 nights in Anchorage, and a journey by rail from Anchorage southwards to Seward to explore Kenai Fjords National Park. Alaska Railroad, such a wonderful way to explore the state. You're traveling past glaciers and mountains and waterfalls, seeing wildlife from the windows of the train. So really a fantastic way to get the atmosphere of Alaska. Fairbanks, as I mentioned, has the midnight sun during the summer months. During the winter, it's one of the best places in North America to see the aurora borealis. Denali National Park, a highlight of this and many other of our Railbookers Alaska itineraries. We'll spend 2 nights in Denali, including a full-day excursion going throughout the park to all the best-known scenic overlooks. This is a very comprehensive tour that takes you 92 miles throughout Denali National Park. You'll visit Talkeetna, which is known as the gateway to Denali, an Alaskan town with a lot of atmosphere and the opportunity to partake in adventure activities like jet boating on the river, river rafting and zip lining, as well as you can do a husky dog sled experience in Talkeetna as well. You're going to travel down to Anchorage, and you'll have an overnight in Anchorage before heading down to Seward to explore Kenai Fjords National Park, the marine wildlife, the beautiful remote islands. That's a half-day cruise, including lunch through Kenai Fjords, returning to Anchorage where this itinerary will end. So lots of different packages at Railbookers exploring Alaska. I did mention that Fairbanks is the best place in North America to see the aurora borealis, and we have packages at Railbookers that travel throughout the winter months. Indeed, Alaska Railroad operates year-round, so you can actually go from Anchorage up to Fairbanks by train. During the winter, Fairbanks has about 3 hours of daylight, and there are incredible opportunities to see the aurora. So if you're looking for something last minute, the winter season extends all the way through March, and a wonderful, very unique opportunity to see one of the most wondrous spectacles of nature up in Fairbanks. Alaska Adventure is our most popular Alaska package at Railbookers. This trip starts in Anchorage. It then goes up to Denali National Park via Talkeetna. You have the excursion down to Seward, again, with an overnight in Seward, allowing you to explore the incredible scenery and wildlife of Kenai Fjords National Park. In Anchorage, this is a fantastic destination, city in its own right, the gateway to the north, lots of cultural and historic attractions. We include a trolley tour, which allows you to get your bearings in Anchorage and identify the places that you want to go back and explore in further detail. On Alaska Railroad, there are two classes of service, Adventure and Gold Star class. Adventure is the economy class on board. You get a large reclining seat with lots of legroom and a big panoramic window. Everybody also has access to the glass domed Vista car, which is the perfect vantage point to see the scenery in Alaska. Seward, by the way, is home to Exit Glacier, one of the famous glaciers in Alaska, as well as the base for exploring Resurrection Bay and Kenai Fjords National Park on the water in a modern catamaran excursion. Gold Star service on Alaska Railroad is the first class, and here you have a double-decker rail car with the seating area up top under glass dome panoramic windows, and down below there's a restaurant where the included meals are served. There's another view of Talkeetna, which is at the confluence of two great rivers. And again, in addition to being an old gold mining town with lots of atmosphere, it's a great place to try out, to explore some of those adventure activities like the jet boat safari. Denali National Park, really a highlight for anybody visiting Alaska, and this will feature on all of our Railbookers itineraries. Again, that tour starts and ends in Anchorage, so great opportunity for the flight in and out of the same gateway city. A lot of people want to just go up to Alaska for that opportunity to have a short visit to Denali National Park, and we have itineraries that are tailor-made for that. Denali Express is just 6 days. You have 3 nights in Anchorage and 2 in Denali National Park. You're traveling up from Anchorage to Denali by rail. Again, you'll have the chance to explore the Alaska Native Heritage Center and the other cultural highlights of Anchorage before heading up to Denali. And you'll have that full day excursion throughout Denali National Park as an included part of that and all the other itineraries. Denali National Park and the Arctic Circle. So we also give you the opportunity to go right up into the Arctic Circle, which is really one of those bucket list experiences that many people sort of have that desire to do. And at the current time, with the difficulties related to traveling abroad, there's a focus for so many travelers on the opportunities to explore the United States domestically and all the highlights, and what better idea to suggest than to go up to the Arctic Circle, which is accessible on an excursion from Fairbanks. So here you would start in Anchorage with 2 nights Denali, and then during your stay in Fairbanks, you would have that included excursion up to the Arctic Circle. There's another look at the Gold Star service on board with Alaska Railroad under the glass dome panoramic windows. In Denali National Park, we stay at Denali Cabins, which is a really unique property in that it's has a remote wilderness feel to it. It's located in a wooded setting, somewhat apart from the larger resort properties that are used by many of the cruise lines on their excursions, giving you that sense of really being in the heart of nature. Again, with that included excursion, full day excursion out into the Arctic Circle. In Fairbanks, by the way, there are fantastic hot springs, the Chino Hot Springs, as well as the Aurora Ice Center. So this is a wonderful excursion that's offered when you're visiting Fairbanks. So that gives you a sense of what your options are to explore Alaska by rail with Railbookers. All these wonderful destinations: Anchorage, Fairbanks, Talkeetna, Seward, Kenai Fjords National Park, and most importantly, a highlight, the jewel of Alaska, Denali National Park. We have numerous e-brochures available for you to download at Railbookers via our website. We have an entire brochure, as I mentioned, dedicated to luxury trains, the Orient Express and many others, as well as cruise extensions, which is a major specialty for us at Railbookers. By the way, all of these packages can be done as cruise extensions. If you're cruising in Alaska, disembarking in Seward, any of these programs can be customized to begin in Seward. Those cruise extensions, by the way, connect with all the great river and ocean ports in Europe on the Danube, the Rhine, the Med, and the Baltic. So, folks, hopefully you found today's webinar to be interesting, informative, and it's given you some ideas and some food for thought for your upcoming travels. Today's webinar is pre-recorded, so we don't have the opportunity for live questions, but if you've got anything that you'd like to know more about, don't hesitate to give us a call at the number on the screen, and one of our rail experts would be more than happy to address any questions you may have. And our best advice always, if you'd like to discuss any of these trips, inquire about availability or cost for any of these programs, give your travel agent a call. Travel advisors are, without question, best positioned, particularly during these tricky times with all the COVID regulations, to help you out and work with us to plan your travels. Once again, everybody, thank you so much. Thanks for your time, for your attention, for taking the trouble to learn a little bit more about Railbookers. We hope to see you on board, but in the meantime, stay safe, take care, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again, and bye for now.